Hey traders, Raghee here, and to kick off our Friday content or free video here, the question I'm going to ask is the dollar still a short? Now, there are some mild implications for the equity markets, but I don't think that's really necessarily going to be in play unless we make brand new lows. We're stuck in a range right now. So the question is the dollar still a short? And then the answer really becomes, well, yes, but specifically against what currencies is the real question. So let's look at the dollar from the standpoint. This is the dollar index, by the way. Let's look at the dollar from the standpoint of the trend that preceded the current chop that this market is in right now. Now, the trend that preceded the chop was clearly down, double red going into yellow. So we had a double red downtrend that's now gone into a yellow chop. All right, so then that means that the trend that was down, and the bias that is still bearish, despite the fact that we're not making lower lows any longer. So the dollar's weakness is not going to be what carries other currency pairs higher. Now, don't think that currency pairs means Forex. It doesn't. Remember, we have ETF currency shares. We also have liquid futures contracts. So this doesn't have to in any way be a Forex conversation. Although I love Forex, remember, we've got a number of ways that we can trade currencies. And one of the ways we can do it is through the futures. And my favorite is probably still the British pound. Now, the pound does not have a fresh entry, but let's talk about what we're able to do when we can capitalize on pullbacks, dollar weakness, and strength on the other side of the currency pair. And again, this is the pound US, but really, the British pound really is buying the pound, shorting the dollar if we're looking long. That is really sort of the mechanics behind the trade. So with that being said, what I want to do is think about the fact that I can control this for about 29, call it $3,000 margin. And so far from the swing trade that we've executed in the futures room, this is a $2,500 trade, and I think we're going to continue to see more upside. To this narrative of dollar shorts, I'd like to add the Canadian dollar. It's not quite double green. However, the strength that we're seeing overall in crude oil, for me, makes this uptrend in Canadian dollar darn near a foregone conclusion. We're not there yet, but I definitely want it on the radar. If we can go double green here, and we're green-yellow, so all I need is the 34 EMA to fall in line, and then I can buy pullbacks to about the 78.80 area on the Canadian dollar. The Australian dollar is another one that's pretty good. It's gone double green as of this week. And by the way, strength in the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, and the New Zealand dollar actually bodes really well from the currency perspective on more strength in equities. I have not in any way backed off my overall bullishness in equity. So let's just leave this conversation with, yes, I want to short US dollars, but the more important question is, what is the currency on the other side of that dollar short? British pound, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, as well as I would add New Zealand dollar in there as well. All right, so where are we on the S&P? Take a look, gang. I mean, I know it doesn't feel as much fun as the first half of February did when we were launching higher, but notice that we really haven't gone anywhere. Right? We really haven't gone anywhere. We're just chopping around. Now, chop is no fun when you have momentum trades on or more aggressive swing buys, and that's part of the game. I mean, I don't think anyone gets to get a pass on that unless they're purely looking for more substantial reversions to the mean, substantial retracements. But I will say this. It's hard to want to bet against this market. I'm still very bullish. Today, this week was really more about a pause and really more about opportunities to get long in different stocks and ETFs. And so I don't look at this week as a disappointment. I look at it as a number of opportunities where stocks and ETFs we've been wanting finally went on sale. So we'll talk more about this next week. But keep in mind, XLK, XLY, XLC, XLF, XLV, XLI, these are those sectors within the broader averages that we want to keep an eye on. And I would even say, even though I'm bullish on the markets, it might make sense to be a little bit more selective about where we're bullish down to a sector or even stock level rather than at the broader index level. Okay, more on that next week. Have a great weekend, gang. Thanks as always for being a part of our group, whether you're a member or not. I appreciate the time. And by the way, if you're not a member and you're interested in more free content, check out the Countdown Trader at countdowntrader.com. It's a free newsletter. We're going to have a coverage on copper next week and also the reflation macroeconomic environment that we're in. So if you're interested in copper futures or the way copper reflects on the broader markets, and if you're interested in the macroeconomic take that I have that's got me focused in very specific sectors and bullish follow through, check it out. We'll be covering all that next week. All right, gang.